I've had a lot of boring jobs. This one paid the best, and it was the easiest thing I ever did. All I had to do was sit at home in the dark and watch other people's empty buildings on a screen. For 3 months, nothing happened. That was the job. Nothing happening. I keep telling myself that nothing happened. But I quit last week, and I still sleep with the lights on. Let me tell you about camera 6. So here's how it worked. There's a company, I won't say the name, that does remote overnight security monitoring. Small buildings mostly. Dentist offices, storage places, a couple of little warehouses out past the highway, the kind of places too cheap to pay a real guard to sit in a chair all night, but nervous enough to want someone watching. That someone was me, from my apartment, in my pajamas. They sent me a laptop and a login. When my shift started, a grid of camera feeds would load up on the screen. 16 little squares, 16 dark rooms, in 16 buildings I'd never set foot in. My job was simple. Watch. If I saw a door open, a light come on, a person where a person shouldn't be, I clicked the button, and it went to the real security company. The ones with cars and radios. I never had to click the button. Not once. For 3 months. You'd think that would be a nightmare, staring at nothing all night. But you get used to it. The buildings become familiar, almost comforting. Camera 2 was a break room with a vending machine that glowed blue all night. Camera 9 was a hallway with a plant somebody clearly forgot about, slowly dying in the corner of the frame. Camera 14 pointed at a parking lot where some nights a cat would walk through, and I'd feel like I'd won something. You start to feel like you know these places, like they're yours, like you're the only person awake in the whole world keeping an eye on things. I liked it. God help me. I actually liked it. Camera 6 showed up in my grid about 6 weeks in. Now, that wasn't unusual on its own. Clients came and went. New building, new feed. It just slots into an empty square. I didn't even notice it at first. It was just another dark room. Here's what camera 6 was. A small office, one desk, one office chair, the kind with wheels, a filing cabinet against the back wall, and a single window high up with the blinds shut. The camera looked down at the room from the corner, near the ceiling. Standard. The only thing a little strange, and I mean little, the kind of thing you notice and immediately forget, was that camera 6 had no timestamp. Every other feed had white numbers in the corner. Date, time, ticking away, second by second. Camera 6 was blank there, just black. I figured it was a settings thing, a cheap camera. Not my problem. The first time something was wrong, I almost missed it. It was maybe 4 in the morning, that dead part of the night where your eyes go soft and the little squares start to blur together. I was reaching for my coffee, not even really looking, and something made me stop. The chair. The office chair on camera 6 was turned to face the desk, and I was sure. The way you're sure of a thing you have looked at 100 times without thinking. I was sure it had been facing the door. I stared at it for a long time. A chair. A stupid office chair. It has wheels. Maybe the floor's uneven. Maybe the building settled. Maybe I never actually looked at it, and my memory was making things up, the way memory does at 4 in the morning. I turned it into a joke in my head. The night janitor sat down for a break, and I went back to my coffee. But I didn't take my eyes off camera 6 for the rest of that shift. After that, I watched camera 6 more than the others. I told myself I wasn't, but my eyes kept going back to that little square, and over the next couple of weeks, slowly, so slowly, I could always explain it away. It started to reach. First, it was the window. One night, the blinds on that high window were open. Not all the way, just a crack, and behind them it was black. Not night black. Not city black with streetlights. Just nothing. Like the window didn't look outside at all. Like there was no outside. I told myself a cleaner opened it. But there was never anyone. That was the whole point of the job. These buildings were empty. That's why they were paying me. Here's the thing you have to understand about the feeds. They were silent, all of them. 16 little windows into 16 dark rooms, and not one of them had sound. The job didn't need it, so I don't know how to explain the next part. It was a Thursday. Late. I had one earbud in, half listening to nothing, when I heard it. A sound, coming from the laptop, a slow, dragging creak, the sound a heavy chair makes when someone leans back in it. I ripped the earbud out, checked every feed, 15 silent rooms, and camera 6. The chair rocking, just slightly, settling, like someone had just gotten up from a feed that couldn't make sound. That was when I started keeping notes, times, what was where, screenshots at the start of my shift, screenshots at the end. I don't know what I was trying to prove. That I wasn't crazy, I guess. The notes did not make me feel better, because on the 4th night, I wasn't looking at camera 6. I was looking at my own screen, at the top of my laptop, right next to the webcam. There's little light, green. It comes on when the camera is recording. It was on. I hadn't turned it on. No app was open. Nothing should have been using it, but there it was. That little green eye, glowing, pointed right at me, and on the screen, just underneath it, camera 6 was waiting. I closed the camera, taped over the lens, told myself it was a glitch, and then I looked at camera 6 one more time before I logged off. The chair was facing the camera, not the desk, not the door. The camera, up in the corner, where I was looking from, it was facing me. I did the only sensible thing. I called the company. There's a number for the overnight shift. It rings to a guy named Dale, who I talked to maybe twice, both times about my paycheck. Nice enough, bored voice. The voice of a man who has also watched a lot of empty rooms. I told him camera 6 was doing things. I heard him typing. Then I heard him stop typing. Which camera? He said. 6, I said. The little office, the one with no timestamp. And Dale. Dale went quiet for what felt like a very long time. Long enough that I said his name twice. Then he said, in a completely different voice, a careful voice, There is no camera 6 on your account. I said that was impossible. I was looking right at it. I could send him a screenshot. He said, and I remember this exactly. He said, "Don't send me anything. Don't screenshot it again. Just don't look at that square. Look at the other 15. Can you do that for me?" I asked him what it was. I asked him whose building it was. He said, "It's nobody's building." And then he said the thing I still hear when I close my eyes. He said, "It's not a camera pointing into a room. It's a camera pointing back out. And it only turns up on the feed when something in there has started paying attention to the person watching. So do yourself a favor. Stop watching." And he hung up. I want to tell you I stopped watching. I want to tell you I closed the laptop and went to bed like a normal person, but you already know I didn't, because you would have looked too. Everybody looks. My last shift was a Tuesday, nothing unusual, until about 2 in the morning. 15 quiet squares and camera 6. The chair was facing me, like it always did now. The drawer was open. The blinds were open on that black empty window. And then, very slowly, the way the whole thing always happened. So slow you could pretend it wasn't happening. The picture on camera 6 began to zoom, not the room. The camera wasn't moving. It was like the room was coming toward the lens, the desk sliding past the edges of the frame, the chair growing, the far wall pushing closer and closer, until all 16 of my little squares were gone, and camera 6 was the whole screen, filling it, edge to edge, and in the center of the frame was the window, the one with the black behind the blinds. Except now the blinds were all the way open, and it wasn't black anymore. It was a room, a small room, lit blue by a screen, a person sitting in the dark in their pajamas, leaning toward a laptop, one hand frozen halfway to a cup of coffee. It took me a second. It took me one full, awful second to understand what I was looking at. I was looking at me, from the window, from inside camera 6. I don't remember closing the laptop. I remember it was on the floor, and the screen was cracked, and I was standing in the corner of my own apartment with my back against the wall, breathing like I'd run a mile. I mailed the laptop back the next morning. I didn't include a note. Dale never called. The paycheck cleared, and that was the end of it. That was 3 weeks ago. Here's the part I can't shake. I've thought about it every night since, sitting in my apartment with all the lights on. For 3 months, I sat in the dark and I watched empty rooms, and I felt like the only person awake in the world, safe, in control, the watcher. But if camera 6 only turns up on the feed when something in there starts watching you back, then somewhere out there, in a building that's nobody's building, in a room with no timestamp, there's a screen, and on that screen there are little squares, empty rooms, quiet buildings, and one of the squares is my apartment. I don't know who's watching it. I just know that lately, when I can't sleep, I get this feeling right at the back of my neck, like I should turn my chair to face the corner and wave. Thanks for listening. If you made it this far, check the corner of your room before you go to sleep tonight, just in case one of them found you too. Good night.